So sibalangela ukuthi you you are singing, dancing, drinking, S, and going into a state of being high, not because it's who you are. No, you have been actively selected to be containers of a particular spirit. Lapho angisho mhlambe ngoba nakho mhlambe ngiyiserious enganani noma mhlambe ngiyibhimbi. Yeah, I'm grateful for that, and I'm literally grateful for that because I was able to look outside in. Oh, okay. So you've been selected to become vessels of Dionysus. That's why I keep insisting to go look into Dionysus and his entourage, because uDionysus bambiza ngobhakasa amaRoma. uDionysus akahambi yedwa, uhamba nemoya eminye nje, ingcwelebano zakhe ezihamba zidansa, having S, all these things eniyibonayo manje. You are seeing a lot of homosexuality. You are seeing a lot of voyeurism. People are seemingly incapable of maintaining poise yokuyikhava nokuyifihla anymore, because we are born and shit now, and it's nothing new, and it always goes nalaba. It has happened before, the same story over and over again. Umhlaba kwafanele uqalwe phansi many times, and mangithi umhlaba angisho umhlaba lo inhlabathi cha. It's always the people. They get corrupt and you have to wipe them out and start over. This has been a cycle, over and over and over and over, because seemingly you just can't stay away from the acoustics of Dionysus. I spend a lot of time with music as well, so I get understanding or analyze. And you can appreciate a spirit as Hambanalo music. I can literally classify it for you now. We're born. I think I've said this more than 5 years ago. And you listen to hip hop, you will recognize the spirit is Hambana hip hop. See it. You just listen to a hip hop song, you start doing this. And you must ask yourself, this motion is for what? You do this motion when we are agreeing with something. So why are you agreeing kule hip hop le? Why is this beat? What is this? This sound. You can tell what ihamba nespeed still, because it's so important to understand vibrations and frequencies when you're listening to music. And the frequency and the vibration ihamba in the music with hip hop, you're agreeing. So it's either you're agreeing to the lyrics of this person. Most of you don't even know what these people are saying and talking about. Or there's something else in the sound that you're agreeing to. Uvumani. Yini lenzo tuvuma hip hop? You go into a sound that has to do with literally or rock. There's rock and heavy metal. The same thing happens, but you see them, you do it more violently. So the sound that is in the heavy rock and the sound that is in the hip hop is very similar. It's coming from the same source. So then you must ask yourself, iliphi la demon ensuka hip hop nakwi rock elihambisana nayo ekufanele livume. linvumisana. I guess then you can even go further to research and find out at what point do both these genres come into existence. And you'll find they literally appear around the same time. I don't want to go into details again about everything else. I'll just give you an example about hip hop. Analyze hip hop. Makes you agree. There's also the what's the other one, Ngambe? The blues. The blues also elicit a particular motion in you, especially when you go back to the 50s. We call it bebop era. So those blues at that time, they have you tapping. There's a motion of tapping or snapping, this, or tapping by the foot. Why? Why is that for? What exactly is that for? Do you even bother to notice, or you just listen to music and because different types of music elicit different types of responses, and if you are a spiritual person, then you need to understand if it can elicit that response from the body, that means it's doing something quite heavy spiritually. To go through the spirit into the mind and elicit a physical reaction response without you actively seeking to do that. And remember, I said to you, the instruments are created by certain people and they carry the spirit and the intent of the creators. So it's not only just a matter of you creating music, it's also what do you use to create the music plays a very big factor. So uthola abantu have been opening portals and opening themselves up to possessions. This is one of the other things that I really don't appreciate. Gospel, and some of your gospels, you can tell this is music is for opening up into whatever it is that is in the church. It will enter you. And then you sit down and you examine if they are singing this gospel and singing these hymns, especially the hymns are very well crafted magic for opening up your chakras, for inhabitation. You go there, you sing these hymns all day, you get opened up, and ingenwa spirit. But then what we see, one, imndeni yahlukana phakathi, abantu sebengenwa idimoni longaziphathi kahle. 2, kwanyuka idimoni lokudawa. 3, kwanyuka idimoni lokuzundana nokubulalana. So it is very strange ukuthi you go into those churches and you get inhabited by spirits that cause you to destroy one another and yourselves. And ave bengcolile abantu abathanda igospel. I know this for a fact. Labantu laba abathanda igospel music ave bengcolile. In fact nje umuntu ohamba isonto kuze khona ama-meme manje laphana ku-Twitter about people who go to church. And it's not a phenomena yamanje, it's a phenomena e-colonization kudala. abelungu babengeke basiqede basinqobe kangaka if they didn't get our people into the church. If our people didn't go into the church, babengeke basidayise kalula kangaka. It was easy for them to get possessed. And the spirit of that possesses them is a spirit that destroys us. So they become agents. Music is not a game. This song and dancing that you are doing, and think you are just enjoying yourself. You are not enjoying yourself. You are possessed by spirits. You are possessed by spirits. I've gone to very far spaces of time. Long before we ended up in this position on our knees, I didn't find people dancing. Didn't find any singing. Didn't find any form of music there. None. So what is this singing and dancing? And the singing and dancing can't seem to just go on its own. Kufanele ihambisane notshwala, ihambisane nokulalana, ihambisane nokuba high. Why nje ingayihambeli yonke ake kube khona singing and dancing kuphele kanjalo? And you know the thing about it, it's not even a case of it's unique to us. It's not even unique to us. Yabo njengamanje abelungu babhizi baya kwi-Burning Man. Lapha e-United States, you can Google it. There's a Burning Man festival that happens there. And it's a lot of music and drinking and doing S and ecstasy. And you know, as abelungu abadlali-ke lento yama-drugs bawathatha ngempela ama-drugs. Hayi lento futhi yokudlala. And you know, so even them, they go through this. They know very well. That's why they, you know, you have to understand them to a level. Even though besenkingeni nabo bengazi kwenzakalani, they start questioning things. That's why when they reach a particular age, they stop. They just stop like, okay, yeah, I've enjoyed my youth. Yeah, it's time to get serious. And then when they do go out and enjoy, they'll do it sparingly now and then, because even to them, register land would know you can't do this over and over and over, otherwise it's going to destroy you. Angisayikhulumeke yasesontweni. You know, abelungu can't even sing to save their lives, for that matter. You know. And that's why they're there for 40 minutes, they're out. You don't see them spending a whole day in church. 40 minutes, papumile. Go on with their lives. But you guys sing, dance, and they don't have a problem with you excelling in that department. Ngoban, they don't like you excelling in anything. But love song and dance, they're okay. I know most of them don't know what's going on, but that's why I keep saying, wisdom nolwazi, it can't be found in the general populace. There's always going to be a few people who know everything when everybody else don't know. So even the story sabo sokuza la to colonize, babengazi bona ukuthi basasala bezocolonize. I didn't even think about it. But a few men who knew what they were looking for, they financed the whole thing, my expeditions. They financed the building of ships. and cartography and all those things. They researched and found ancient maps that lead to King Solomon's mines and set on the table. 5, 6 of them set on the table. Say, yeah, okay, let's go find this gold. Let's go find these people. And they came and found you. Very few men. The same very few men who sat down and decided, let's go to the Holy Land and do the crusade. We'll say we are going to the Holy Land to defend the Holy Land. That's why we're going to tell them, but we know exactly what we are looking for when we get there. The same group of men who sat down and said, okay, let's build a state of Israel after this war. Even further, they said, okay, let's start a world war so that we can, form a new state of Israel. Those are the same men. Very few of them know what's really going on. It's not in the public domain. So it's a few people who are going to know exactly what's going on. And, it's a thing that you need to understand. So don't expect to bonke or white are going to know exactly what they are doing to you. Most of them don't know, but they are actively participating in something they don't understand. To them, it's very simple. They just don't like black people. But they don't know why they don't. They don't know who taught them to not. But they're just doing it because they found their forefathers doing it and the forefathers before them. But the same people who hate black people have literally been masters at exploiting them. Yeah? Isn't it funny? They're very, very fond of using black people. But bafuna. And who's very fond at using black people, is very good at using black people? And I wouldn't be surprised, of course I'm not surprised, but you'd be shocked if you find out the people who are sitting at the table, it's them. And it's them behind the shipbuilding, it's them behind the whole wholesale abduction of people and trafficking of our people, because you still find them as well. We were talking about music. The music industry is also a thing where they get to use black people to make money. They've been doing that for years. All my favorite jazz artists, Mali, they died poor. That way they are owners, record producers and record distribution companies, or Capitol Records, or Blue Note, or this, or Verve, Sony, what you call it. I think even Michael Jackson mentioned it. He did mention it quite a lot, and it's not something that's not been disputed. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they were not the ones who were pushing these other ones in the direction of wholesale exploitation of our kind. I wouldn't be shocked, if they were not behind the whole thing. Mhlambe nje lezi ingane zamajalimane zazi lutho nkosami, zasetshenziswa ile genge le. Yes, because everywhere you turn, you find them. Ngeke ngiyisdala. Ngane zikaSathane. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say for today. But as you know, most of these topics are very loaded. I try to summarize them as much as I can. I try to make it cogent as much as I can so that you can understand. And those who come after us, hopefully they'll find us. There's going to be a need, I think, next year that we take all of this material. I know Dumisang has been really talking about it for years. We need to take all of this content and move it somewhere else so that it can be archived. Because we don't know going forward what's going to happen with the star people bala ka YouTube. Because nala ka YouTube, star people are there. Yeah, they are unique. So I think we're gonna have to, but it's easy for me at this point because unsubscribe and then the next near book and ham, so it keeps my subscribers very minimal and literally under the radar. But there was a time where ngabona ukuthi khona la sebephazamiseka khona, because they literally went hard, I think twice, to try and shift me, in a particular direction from this platform. They even suspended me for no real reason, really. Because I then asked them, okay, so you suspended me because of what exactly? Can you list for me which particular videos you think are somebody else's videos? Which ones? I'd never got an answer. So we are born now with, okay. And then what that effectively did was it allowed them to literally reset the algorithm so that I don't really get to show up everywhere. So you go and you look at the analytics data, you can say, okay, the sources of traffic are coming not because of YouTube's suggestion. People just happenstance, and people who are not new, who are actively looking, will probably find this channel. So that's what we are dealing with here. I'm pretty much aware, but we use the tools. I'm casting my net, and we will find the people anyway. Amithaba niba ukhanya emhlabeni, niba ukhanya phakathi kwezizwe. Uthanda ukuthula nenjabulo nokubonga. Ngibonge kakhulu isikhathi senu. Ngibonga ukuphila, sibonge ithuba lokuthi siphinde sizame futhi. Ningakhohlwa ukubonga njalo anivuka. Ningakhohlwa. Ave kuyithuba elihle ukuba senyameni. If you follow this channel, I make an emphasis ukuthi being in the flesh is a very important part of the human experience, and we must utilize it properly. It's a chance for us to recalibrate and put things back into a place where they were.